What's going on, guys? It's VenomousFatman here again. I'm here on the BITT, the boys in the tube. I'm sitting down with Nick McCandless, from the GamerAccess.com, Nick McFresh. We're talking about a whole bunch of stuff. We just talked about his origins into the gaming industry and into gaming in general. Whole bunch of information in there. If you guys haven't checked it out already, go check out part one of the interview before continuing on. So, part two, we're going to get into the Gamer Access itself. So, Nick, let me ask you this first question. What is really the Gamer Access all about? What is the main philosophy or the mission statement behind the Gamer Access?
So the GamerAccess.com is a completely unbiased community website where everyone on the staff, it's like it's mentioned in part one, we aren't being paid to do this. We just have a strong passion for the gaming industry, and we want to give everyone access within the industry with interviews, behind the scenes, things like that. The Gamer Access has been running for a little over 3 years now. We've had a lot of success with the site.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. So we're continuing to make success. And pretty much like our mission, and this is something I strongly emphasize, if I could change just one thing in this gaming industry, this is the one thing I want to change is the negative stereotype towards gamers. Like that is what I really like. Once I get in a position where I have the publicity that is needed, that will be something I will focus on is I know I can't change everyone's opinion, but kind of transition people to say, "Hey, gamers are not really the general public thinks that gamers are separated from the normal
Yeah,
person, which
that's a big stereotype that everybody, kind of knows about.
I mean, I'm a gamer, but at the same time, I'm a normal person. I have plenty of friends. I like going out. I like doing my thing, and I do a lot of work in the gaming industry. And I've seen, yes, there are those people going to PAX. Trust me, I saw plenty of people that fit that stereotype perfectly. But at the same time, not everyone is like that. Some people that work in the game industry are some of the coolest people you will ever meet. I can't tell you how many like lifelong friends I've developed because of the gaming industry. And as someone that actually played sports, a lot of my friends, I hate to say it, but they have that same view on gamers. They're like, you guys don't have lives, this and that. Well, I'm like, well, what about me? And they're like, well, Nick, you're the exception. I'm like, no, I'm not. There's plenty of gamers out there that have real lives. They do other things. Playing games isn't different than being a fan of film. It's just you're pressing buttons instead of just watching. It's nothing different. So that negative stereotype is the number one thing I want to fix. And then also with females in the industry, a lot of people ask me all the time. They're like, Nick, you're always working with females in the industry. And one of the reasons why I do that is because the negative stereotype towards females. People think that because a female is attractive, the only reason why they're getting involved in the gaming industry is because they want attention. And that's not the case. You ask anyone that I've worked with, the one thing I always do, because I've had various females contact me or I meet with, and they want to become a part of the site, they want to go to these events. I don't care how attractive you are. If you don't know your shit, I don't really. I mean, I'll have a friendship with you, but I'm not work with you within the gaming industry because then you're going to strengthen that stereotype that's out there. You're gonna be that prime example of an Olivia Munn, for example, where you're just using your looks to progress in entertainment, not gaming, in entertainment. That's why every female that I have ever worked with through the GamerX.com, they are extremely passionate gamers. They know what they're talking about, and that's why I work with them because that's a big portion of the game industry that needs to be addressed. And doing that. A lot of people are not really focusing on that, and I feel that that's one thing that I can use to differentiate myself, one thing I can progress through the industry and make the world realize that this gaming industry is something that everyone should be a part of.
That's interesting. So let me ask you this then to kind of bounce off of that. Let me ask you, what is really kind of like, as far as like upholding your mission statement or upholding your goals with the Gamer Access, what is kind of like the hardest challenge outside of, trying to combat stereotypes or combat some of the antagonizing things that are part of the industry? Like, what is the most challenging thing, maybe dealing with companies or gaming developers or stuff like that? What is the most challenging thing?
The most challenging thing is definitely with these developers and publishers, they are out there for publicity. I understand that completely. But the one thing that kind of upsets me sometimes is they'll say, "Oh, you're not IGN, you're not Kotaku. Well, we don't want to work with you then, or we're not going to give you as much time as we would give them." just because they feel that, well, okay, the gamer access might pull in a 50th of the traffic that IGN does. So why don't we just go to IGN about it? So those type of companies, just if you don't have, I mean, we our traffic is going up and up. We're starting to get big, and there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. But at the same time, we are not IGN, and we're not IGN because we don't have the. If I had as much money as IGN had, I would take IGN down real quick. I'll tell you that right now because I know what I would do. IGN, if you look at how many staff members they have and the work they put out there, it's like if I had that many staff members, you guys would be in trouble because so you guys IGN's following that same thing. It's like I have so many ideas that would differentiate um, what we are in the gaming industry compared from these other sites. So I'd say the most difficult thing is just working with some of these companies, and if you're not IGNs, there's some companies out there that they just don't want to work with you, or they might claim to work with you or whatever, but they're not going to give you their full attention. So having to build those relationships, that's where going to these events is key. For people that want to get in the gaming industry, you have to go to these events and meet these people face to face. Because from firsthand experience, you can get introduced to people over email all the time. There's a ton of people that I've actually worked deals with. I still haven't met them in person, but I've communicated through email. But when you meet that person face to face and talk to them, that's going to put you above the thousands of other people that are just randomly emailing them. There's plenty of people that they work with companies and they wouldn't really support the GamerX.com that much, but hey, I meet them in person. I talk with a couple of their PR reps. We have a good time, go to some of the parties afterwards, and guess what, now we're getting treated with all this royalty and stuff like that. So um, just having to break out, and while you don't have quite the publicity of these larger sites, being able to explain why you're worth their attention, that's what I would
Hmm.
say difficult thing at this moment.
That's interesting. So let's get into something a little bit kind of controversial, a little bit kind of nerve-wracking, whatnot. But a while ago, in Keats, if you guys haven't been following stuff on the Gamer Access, or if you haven't been following things about the Gamer Access or Nick in general, there was a while ago that popped up on Twitter. There was just like, I guess it's some random blog or whatnot or email that somebody had posted that was actually talking about Nick. That was actually, talking about stuff industry wise or whatnot. Now, personally, even though I read it, I don't remember the specifics of it. Since then it's been taken down or just kind of got ninjaed, for lack of a better word. But basically, Nick, kind of talk to us a little bit about it, or kind of give us some details, a little bit about what went down or what's probably still going down, if anything. Like, what was your mindset? When this kind of broke out, and kind of break the ice a little bit, or kind of break the was it the kind of the silence about what this was all about?
All right, so there's actually a lot more to this story than anyone thinks. Pretty much, I've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. There's stuff that's gonna be coming out later this year, and there's various people, executives, producers that I'm working with. Well, someone obviously in the know, because everything, if you read it, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and say everything in that post was 100% accurate. I'm not gonna lie, everything in there was 100% accurate, and it wasn't. There was nothing negative in there. It was just information that was not supposed to get out as far as what I've been working on. But someone obviously in the know felt the need to put up a blog. It was Nick McCandless exposed or something like
Something
that.
along those lines, yeah, pretty much.
First of all, having that title makes it seem like I've done something in a negative way. So whoever this person was, they go on Twitter and there's this, because I was looking into the Twitter account, I was like, what the heck? I've never heard of it. It wasn't a person's name, it wasn't a website. Like, what's this all about? I looked into it. The Twitter name is some like anonymous Twitter service where you can just go to this website, send a tweet from a random account, and then it like hides your IP address and this and that, so you can't track where that tweet came from.
Yeah, so that's kind of crazy. Somebody would go to those steps.
Right. So someone wrote a blog post, and it was a pretty long blog post. I mean, it was probably a good 10 to
It was
15
a
paragraphs
long one, I remember.
long, and it was pretty much just talking about the stuff I've been doing. It didn't give too many details, thankfully, but at the same time, it broke NDA agreements. So the some of the producers I'm working with, along with myself, we actually had to contact the legal team of Blogspot and say, "Hey, this is information that was not supposed to be released." We had to provide legal documents stating that the information was not supposed to be released, and then within like 24 hours, they took it down, thankfully. But at the end of the day, it's like it still doesn't matter because hundreds of people read it. The guy tweeted on Twitter, and the thing was, he went through like who I'm following, and he mentioned them. So he tweeted it to God knows how many people, and they all read it. And some people contact me about it. Some people haven't responded to it. But it's at the end of the day, it wasn't portrayed in a negative way. But at the same time, it was just information that was not supposed to come out about what I've been doing behind the scenes and other stuff like that, and the information that I have. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't anything that was. I was upset when it went out because obviously then he mentioned me, and I'm like, I read it and I'm like, oh my god. Like, I was expecting when I first saw Nick McCandless exposed, I thought it'd be some hater or something just posting some random blog, making up shit, lying about what I've done, and trying to make me look bad. But I started reading it, and I'm like, hold up. There's only about 10 people that know this, and all these people have signed an NDA agreement on it. So, with that being said, the site was taken down, and now there's actually some, I'm not going to go into details, but there's some investigation process going behind the scenes as far as who did it. Because whoever did it has a lawsuit on their hands. So, it's pretty crazy. A lot more to it than people think. They thought it was just some little game. Someone posted something, but I will confirm everything in that post was 100% accurate. Um, and yeah,
Here, let me ask this question, kind of before we go to the next part. Do you think that one, little headaches like this or things that are going on like this that, kind of come your way is testament to how you're moving forward in the industry? And also, what was it? I understand that you said that you were a little bit upset about what went down or whatnot, but what was like your immediate reaction, when everything was going on? And, did like, did anything that, specifically that you were working on, was it affected in any way, shape, or form by what had went down, with anything, that was written out there or just put out there for everybody to see?
so pretty much my initial reaction, I was like, "Oh my god, like who did this?" That was my first thing. Is like because the people, like I said, it's only about 10 people that would know because I've been working with them, and I'm like, I trust all of them to give them any type of information they need. And to know that one of these people came out and posted this kind of upset me. It kind of like, well, who can I trust anymore? These were 10 people that I trusted with everything, and one of them's just put it all out there. And it was kind of crazy because it actually came out because I host a weekly meeting with my staff members to kind of discuss plans and stuff like that. And we also do our podcast, which is unscripted access, relatively new. And we were doing the meeting, and I see this get posted, and I'm like, hold up a second. So I was like, guys, give me a second, let me read this. And I was thinking it was just gonna be something I'd skim over, say, yeah, whatever. I'm used to hate, so I don't really care. When I read the information, I was like, okay. I had to call. I called one of the producers I'm working with. I'm like, man, do you see what got posted? He's like, no. What are you talking about? And I was like, man, I'm gonna email you a link, but something needs to be taken care of. And he immediately got on it. He's the one that took care of getting contact with the legal team and everything like that. But as far as its impact, thankfully, whoever posted it didn't give exact details. They just gave like a brief overview. Still wasn't supposed to be out there, but gave a brief overview. Really, the only impact it has is it's kind of progressed the project where it might be coming out a bit sooner than expected, which is a good thing in some ways. It's just that they want to go ahead and get it out because they don't know who did it. And well, guess what? If this person posts something that actually gives details, and they could ruin it. So we're kind of progressing it faster than expected. It's supposed to be something that possibly comes out later this month or early June, assuming everything goes through right. So fingers crossed on that one. Once it goes live, if you're following me on Twitter, you go to gamerx.com. Pretty much any way you can reach me, you're going to see it. I'm going to need everyone's help in promoting it, supporting it, because if this goes through and it's heavily supported, there's going to be a huge change in this industry, and it's going to be good. So can't really, I really want to say more, but I can't. But it's something I'm definitely looking forward to, and I mean, it's something I've blown off, and it's a thing of the past. I got to get used to it. I mean, the more attention I get, the more stuff like this is going to happen. So it's just preparing me for the future.
Sounds exciting. Sounds like, there's a lot of interesting that's coming along over the horizon. But that's the end of part two, guys. Be sure to check out the next part, as I continue to sit down with Nick McCandles from the Gamer Access here on the Bit. Be back in a second, guys.